You did what you said you would do. You built the career, you earned the title, you made the money. People trust you. People listen to you. People assume you have it all figured out. And yet there are moments when you sit in meetings you once worked so hard to earn your seat in, and you feel nothing. You nod, you contribute, you lead, but internally, you're disengaged in a way you can't quite explain. You hit goals that used to excite you, and the win barely registers. Instead of celebration, your brain immediately jumps to the next problem waiting on your calendar. Sometimes the question isn't dramatic or loud, it's quiet, almost inconvenient. It shows up in small moments, when you're alone, when no one needs anything from you. Is this really it? If you're successful and still feel off, this is not a failure of gratitude. It's not burnout, and it's not a crisis. It's often the result of growth outpacing meaning. And before we go any further, I want you to know something. This isn't just something I've observed in other people. This is something I've lived through myself much earlier than most. So when I was 25, on paper, I was doing everything right. I was leading 2 different recruiting teams in 2 different cities, earning over $250,000 a year. And yet I remember sitting in my car one day thinking, why do I feel like I'm racing, but I don't know what I'm racing towards? I had momentum, a career path, I had validation. Nothing was wrong. Nothing felt present. I wasn't unhappy. I was disconnected. I didn't have the language for it back then, but looking back, I can see it clearly. My achievement was accelerating faster than my self-awareness, and that gap between doing and feeling only widens if you don't address it. Most people don't notice it until much later, when the stakes are way higher, when the responsibilities are heavier. Which brings me to what I see now every single day in the executives that I work with. This experience is far more common than anyone admits, especially among people who are highly capable and deeply responsible. You've reached what I call the executive plateau. And if you're here, this conversation matters. I'm your host, Renee Frey, America's career strategist, and your ultimate hype woman when it comes to building a career and life you actually love. Every week, I pull back the curtain on what really drives career growth and fulfillment, the mindset shifts, the strategies, and the truth-telling pep talks you need to hear. Because if you're going to spend 1/3 of your life working, you deserve to work happy. And whether you're new here or a longtime listener, I'm thrilled you're joining. Let's get intentional, let's get inspired, and let's grow together. We are sold a very clean story about success in our culture. Work hard, move up, reach the top, feel satisfied. But that story falls apart quietly. It rarely breaks in a dramatic moment. It erodes slowly while everything still looks fine. The executive plateau shows up when your outer life keeps expanding, but your inner life stops responding. You are progressing on paper, but stagnating emotionally and mentally. You keep winning, but the wins feel flat. The emotional payoff you expected either never arrives or it fades faster than it used to. Most executives assume this means they need a bigger challenge, bigger scope, another rung. They believe intensity will solve what's actually misalignment. So they push harder, not because they're greedy, but because pushing has always worked before. Here's what rarely gets said out loud. The habits that got you here, urgency, drive, extremely high standards, control, they don't disappear at the top. They simply stop producing the same sense of progress. What once felt energizing now feels heavy. You didn't fail at success. You've succeeded enough to discover its limits, and no one prepares you for that moment. There's no training guide for redefining success after you achieve it. And I hear this from execs all the time. A COO once told me, I built everything I said I wanted, and now I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. And another senior leader said, I keep stacking responsibility because stillness makes me uncomfortable. These aren't weak people. These are disciplined, capable, high integrity leaders. But leadership narrows the room. The higher you go, the fewer people you can talk to honestly. Your peers are careful. Your team looks to you for certainty. So you stop saying the thing you're actually thinking. Not because you're fake, because leadership has consequences. And that isolation doesn't show up as sadness. It shows up as distance. Early in your career, progress felt electric. Later, the same milestones barely move the needle. Your brain adapts, your standards rise, and suddenly you're asking why nothing feels exciting anymore. Most executives don't pause at this point. They accelerate, they add responsibility, they stay busy enough not to think. And that works for a while. Busyness can mask misalignment until it doesn't. And what follows isn't dramatic burnout, it's erosion. You show up, but you're not fully there. Your patience shortens, your presence thins. At home, your body's still there, your mind is still working. Years later, the regret isn't about ambition. It's about how long you ignored the signal. And that signal was never telling you to quit. It was telling you to listen. Here's the reframe. The executive plateau isn't assigned to blow everything up like a midlife crisis. No. It's assigned to recalibrate. And this is where most people miss the real work. Fulfillment is not found by changing jobs alone. It's found by changing how present you are inside your life. Presence is not a personality trait. It's a skill. And most high performers were never rewarded for it. They were rewarded for urgency, anticipation, for solving the next problem before it arrived. But the ability to experience your life, not just manage it, requires a different muscle. For me, meditation is how I train that muscle. Not to escape my life, but to actually be in it. It's what grounds me in the moment. It's what helps me notice when I'm operating on autopilot. It brings me back to myself instead of racing past my own experience. This isn't about calm for calm's sake. It's about engagement, clarity, and leadership that's responsive instead of reactive. So I want you to go back and ask yourself, what originally drove me? What was I trying to prove? Who was I trying to become? And that motivation may have served you once, but outdated drivers quietly drain energy. Ask the harder question. Is this still what motivates me now? Most people never update their definition of success. They keep chasing a version that no longer fits. Forget what looks impressive. Ask what actually makes your life feel full. More autonomy, more creativity, more contribution, more presence. Write it down. Seeing it clearly changes how you evaluate everything else. And this isn't about burning your career down. It's about choosing one instead of drifting. One intentional adjustment beats 10 reactive ones. And the loneliness at the top is real, but it's not permanent. Connection doesn't weaken authority. It stabilizes it. Growth still matters, but the direction changes. Not upward, inward, outward. The executives who navigate this stage well don't abandon ambition. They redirect it. They stop asking how to win more and start asking what they want their success to serve. This isn't a reset, it's an upgrade. So here's the real question. Not what should I do next, but what do I want my life to feel like now? The executive plateau isn't about reaching the top. It's about realizing the ladder might be leaning against the wrong wall. And here's the part that most people miss. You don't have to start over. You just got to move your ladder. If this landed for you, you are not behind, you're paying attention, and that's exactly where the next chapter begins. Until next time, stay conscious, stay inspired, and keep building the career and life you love. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit follow. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, hit follow as well. See you next time. Cheers.